Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. This series helps you prepare for the CompTIA Security Plus exam with focused explanations and practical context. For a companion study guide, check out the Achieve CompTIA Security Plus 701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. It is the most concise and complete Security Plus guide on the market, built for busy professionals who want to pass the exam fast and on their first try. You can find this book and others at cyberauthor.me. Controlling who has access to what and under which circumstances is one of the most fundamental challenges in cybersecurity. That challenge is addressed through access control models which define how permissions are assigned, enforced, and audited across systems. Whether you're securing a single file or an entire enterprise network, choosing the right access control model can have a major impact on your organization's security posture. In this episode, we begin our two-part look at access control models by focusing on two of the most widely discussed frameworks: mandatory access control, or MAC, and discretionary access control, or DAC. Let's begin with mandatory access control. Mandatory access control is a highly structured and policy-driven model in which access decisions are determined by a central authority based on predefined rules and classification levels. In an MAC environment, users cannot change permissions on files or resources. They can only access what the policy allows based on their assigned clearance and the sensitivity of the resource. MAC systems rely on labels. Every user is assigned a security clearance, and every object, such as a file or directory, is assigned a classification label. Examples of labels might include public, confidential, secret, or top secret. The access control policy defines which clearances can access which classifications. These rules are enforced by the system and cannot be changed by users or owners of the resources. Mandatory access control is used in environments where data confidentiality and integrity are absolutely critical. This includes military, government, and classified research environments. The model is designed to prevent both unauthorized access and improper information flow between classification levels. Let's explore a real-world example. A defense agency uses a MAC model to secure documents related to national security. A user with a secret-level clearance can access documents marked secret or lower, but cannot access top-secret materials. Even if the user created the document, they cannot share it with someone who lacks the appropriate clearance. Likewise, they cannot lower the classification of the document or grant exceptions. All access decisions are enforced by the system's security policy. Another important characteristic of MAC is that it supports data separation. For example, a project team working on a classified initiative might have access to a specific set of systems and data, but their environment is logically isolated from other teams, even if both are within the same organization. This minimizes the risk of data leakage between compartments. Mandatory access control is often implemented in conjunction with operating systems that support mandatory policy enforcement, such as security-enhanced Linux. These systems use security labels and rules to strictly define which users and processes can interact with which objects. The policies are centrally managed, difficult to override, and designed to withstand insider threats. However, MAC is not without limitations. The rigidity of the model can make it difficult to manage in dynamic environments. It requires careful classification of data, clear policies, and extensive training. Making changes to access rights typically involves going through administrative channels and updating system-wide policies. That's why MAC is most effective in high-security, low-change environments where control and consistency matter more than speed and flexibility. Now let's turn to discretionary access control. DAC is a much more flexible and user-centric model. In a DAC environment, the owner of a resource, such as a file or directory, has the authority to determine who can access it and what they can do with it. Permissions are typically granted based on user identities or group memberships. DAC is used widely in consumer and business operating systems such as Windows and Mac OS. When you right-click on a file and assign read or write permissions to another user, you're applying discretionary access control. The system trusts the owner to manage access appropriately. The main benefit of DAC is ease of use. It allows individuals to collaborate and share resources without needing administrator intervention. It also supports more granular control since users can customize permissions at the individual object level. In business environments, DAC makes it easy for teams to manage shared folders, documents, and project spaces. Let's look at a practical example. In a corporate file server, a marketing manager creates a folder for an upcoming campaign. Using DAC controls, they grant read and write access to the design and communications teams and read-only access to executive leadership. They control who can see and modify the files, and they can adjust those permissions at any time without involving the. This flexibility allows for quick collaboration and workflow management. However, DAC also introduces risk. Because users control access to their own resources, they may grant permissions too broadly, either by mistake or out of convenience. For example, a user might accidentally give full control of a sensitive spreadsheet to everyone in the company, or they may forget to revoke access after a project ends. Another concern with DAC is the potential for privilege escalation. If an attacker compromises a user account, they gain all of that user's permissions and possibly access to other shared resources the user controls. Since users can change permissions themselves, an attacker may be able to expand access even further, especially if permissions were set loosely in the first place. To mitigate these risks, organizations that use DAC should combine it with monitoring, auditing, and periodic access reviews. IT teams should educate users on permission hygiene, configure default permission templates, and apply policies to prevent overly permissive access to sensitive systems. Some environments use DAC in combination with centralized role-based access models. In this hybrid approach, baseline access is assigned based on role, while users retain the ability to fine-tune access to their own resources. This provides a balance between control and flexibility, but it still requires oversight. To summarize, access control models define how permissions are assigned and enforced. Mandatory access control is rigid, centrally enforced, and highly secure, ideal for high-security environments where data classification and access consistency are critical. Discretionary access control is more flexible, user-managed, and collaboration-friendly, common in everyday operating systems and business applications. Each model has strengths and trade-offs, and choosing the right one depends on your organization's security priorities and operational needs. For the Security Plus exam, expect to answer questions about the differences between MAC and DAC, when each is appropriate, and what risks they help mitigate. You may also see scenario-based questions where you must choose the best access control model for a given organization or security requirement, review terms like data owner, security label, classification level, privilege escalation, and access rights inheritance. They're all part of understanding how access is managed across systems. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.